Hello, and welcome to another segment of Video Ventures, brought to you by the Western DuPage Special Recreation Association. WDSRA provides recreational opportunities for people with disabilities, and Video Ventures is one of those programs. All of the participants are behind the camera and in the production room doing this production piece. So let's get started. And we're pleased to have Mary Ann here with the All Pets Wellness Foundation, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the program. So let's get started, and thanks, Mary Ann, for joining us today.
Thank you for having us here. The Wellness Foundation was set up to help people whose animals have catastrophic illnesses, and they're faced, unfortunately, with the alternative of either being able to have a treatment, have a surgery, or putting them down. And there are so many cases when the surgery will save their life and they will be able to live a long, healthy life. So the foundation was set up so that we could help them defray some of those costs.
Okay, that's great. And why did you get this program started?
Well, because we have a variety of animals in our lives, and they've all had issues. Our first rescue, after we'd had her for a few months, went into kidney failure. So, of course, that was a procedure. Our second rescue, Princess, had a tumor on her spleen that ruptured. And fortunately, because our vet is a surgeon, he was able to save her life that day. And fortunately, we were able to take care of the costs. But we know that there are a lot of people who can't. So we know what it would have been like if we had to face losing these guys for reasons that were out of our control. So we want to be able to help people to keep their animals in their lives.
That's great. And how many dogs have you rescued since 2000?
We have rescued 13.
Oh, and you had talked earlier about most of these dogs are at senior age. At what age would you say a dog is considered a senior?
Tufts University actually did a study where they kind of concluded smaller dogs generally are considered older seniors at an older age, about 10 or 12. Larger dogs, their lifespans are generally not as long, so they're considered seniors somewhere between 6 and 8. And again, it all depends on the breed, the size of the dog. But a lot of our seniors are, you'd never know how old they are. In fact, Kenny here, when we rescued him, we got him from a shelter in central Indiana. And he was, at the time, if the records are correct, 13. That was the summer of 2005. Oh, wow. This summer he will have been with us for 5 years, which means he should be about 18.
And as people consider maybe adopting or looking to get a dog, why would someone consider a senior dog over maybe a puppy?
A senior dog has a lot of benefits. Generally, an older dog is more settled, is calmer. Rescues will have them potty trained before they come to live with you. They are easily trainable. You can teach an old dog new tricks. When the dogs come to live with us, we always take them for a training class just to kind of get them acclimated and get them some basic obedience. But they are more than willing to want to learn. They want to be with you. By the time a senior is rescued, they've kind of been through the war, so to speak, and they're ready to kind of settle, and they just want to be your companion.
And what is the oldest dog you have taken in?
Well, they were both 13. Okay. Kenny was 1, and actually Annabelle, our first senior rescue, she was officially 13, so we know that for sure because we had her birth records. She was actually rescued from the original people that had her from a puppy had surrendered her.
Well, Christine has a couple questions for you. So, Christine, if you could ask one of your questions.
Where do your dogs come from?
I like to say they come from God. And I say that because from the very beginning, when we learned all about rescue, we know that you have to be prepared to accept whatever the issues are that the dog is coming with. Many times, all they need is a loving home and, in some cases, a little bit of obedience training and some structure, primarily structure. And so Jim, my husband, and I have always talked about, the good Lord will put those babies in our path that need our help and the ones that we can help, because we all have different gifts that we can offer to the dogs. Our mission, even before the foundation our mission was to teach people, to let them know that it's okay to rescue an older dog. I've had people tell me, I lost my dog after 15 years. I don't know if I could do that again. But I tell them, think about what you're missing.
Right.
Think about what that baby is missing. All the love, the joy, yeah. Does it hurt when we lose them? Absolutely. I cry every time I think about them. But I also smile inside. I'm happy because I know that if we hadn't taken them into our homes to live with us, then they would not have died happy.
Right.
They would not have crossed the Rainbow Bridge feeling comfortable and comforted. And that's what it's all about.
Right.
Princess lived with us for 7 months to the day that we got her. And she died in my arms on a Sunday morning. And I'll always be grateful for that experience. Every one of our dogs has had a similar story. Well, thank you. Thank you, Caleb. Oh, I am paying attention to you, I promise. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit more about the foundation.
We are in our early stages of the
Okay.
foundation. We officially became a 501c3 organization last year.
Okay.
So now we're hitting the ground running. Jim, my husband, is working very diligently, talking to sponsors. We're trying to get some sponsorships
Okay.
behind us. We plan a number of educational, informational seminars, symposiums to get the word out about not only the foundation, but about how to keep your dogs healthy. And then we are also planning, of course, the fundraisers. And I enjoy doing it because no matter how many fundraisers you go to, you're doing something good for somebody.
Right. That's great. And good luck, in the future. And
Oh,
I hope
thank
it takes
you.
off the ground and everyone hears about it. So it'd be great.
Yeah, getting the word out is so important. Our website is up, and we're working on all the social media and trying to get the word out. And fortunately, these days there are a lot of ways to do that that we didn't have 10 years ago.
Good.
So
Good.
we'll utilize them.
Well, I want to touch a little bit more about adopting senior dogs. I think that's really important. You touched about it a little bit earlier, but do you recommend senior dogs for any certain types of people?
Just about anybody.
Okay.
But what we've come to realize is that seniors pair well with senior citizens.
Okay.
And for a lot of reasons, they are kind of at the same stage in life. And senior citizens don't need a puppy. They need a companion that will hang with them, and they also derive benefits from the dog. People derive benefits from the dog. They've done a lot of studies with human-animal bonds, the human-animal interactions, and realize that no matter whether you're older or younger, the benefits include lower blood pressure, reduced stress, and increased activity. So for a senior, a lot of those things are just so important.
Right.
Figure a dog or a cat gives a person a reason to get up in the morning. You've got somebody that relies on you, that you can help, and there's a reward in that. And so many senior citizens are stuck inside and just don't want to come out.
Right.
They also get them out and to socialize more. So those are only a few of the benefits. And in addition to seniors, children and people with disabilities, these guys are so great at just giving you support. And a lot of times when children are having problems reading or with pronunciations or just getting out, the dogs can give them a little bit more of that a support and help them feel better.
I know there's a special dog, Samson, who's no longer with us anymore, but can you talk a little bit about him?
Samson was the epitome of all the things that we're trying to tell people. This is Sammy. He was an American Brittany Spaniel. We learned about him on a Friday morning in August of 2005. Sam had been rescued from a kill shelter in Chicago by American Brittany Rescue, and brought out to a facility, a veterinary clinic in the western suburbs, to get his checkup. What they do then is that they they do his full checkup, and then he goes to his either a foster home or a forever home. Well, during the course of their workup, they found out that he had a grade 3 heart murmur. Sammy was also 15 pounds overweight, so he walked with his legs bowed, his front legs bowed. So his arthritis was really bad. And the vets were not giving him a really good prognosis. In fact, they said that he probably wouldn't last more than 2 or 3 months. So that's when we got called. And Jim and I had talked about it before I even went to see him. And that conversation took all of about 5 words. Basically that if all this little boy had on earth was another couple of months, then he was going to live it in a home where he would be loved and he'd be happy, and we would do everything that we could to make him comfortable. So we did, and by November of that year, Sammy had lost the 15 pounds that he was overweight. He was walking much better, and his heart was stronger.
It was the little things.
It is. It really is. And we lost Sammy last July.
And how long did he live?
He would have, had he lived a couple of weeks longer, he would have celebrated his 4th anniversary with us.
Yeah.
So 2 to 3 months to 4 years, and he was just the sweetest, most lovable boy. It's the kind of thing that you need to live through to really believe that it happens. And we've lived through it, so we want to tell people. We want people to know that, you know what, you can really do this.
Yeah, definitely.
And they can,
That's great. Well, Esther over here looks like she wants some attention, so let's focus on her for a little
Sweet
while.
little Esther.
Come here.
Esther and her companion, Lulu, were found wandering in southern Wisconsin. Both dogs they thought were somewhere between 8 and 9 years old. This was in late 2007, and they were both ill. Lulu had tumors, and Esther had stage 2 heartworm. Esther, her prognosis was actually not as good.
Really?
Because of the 2nd stage heartworm, a lot of times dogs just don't come out of it. The treatment is sometimes worse than the disease. So they were concerned that she wouldn't make it. And so we, again, we said, well, whatever we can do to help her, to make her, if it's only a few months, then that's what we'll do. And that was, she came to live with us in January of 2008. So we're going on 2 years over here.
Well, we're running out of time. But,
Okay.
We do want to talk about Kenny real fast, so if we can talk a little bit about him.
Kenny came from a shelter in central Indiana. He had lived there for 7 years. And he was about 6 when he went in. So again, he was 13 when we rescued him. Chances are he would have lived out his days in the shelter. But he's been with us actually the longest. He will be with us 5 years this summer. Kenny early last year, his feet his hind legs started knuckling over. After a bunch of tests, we learned that it's a disease called degenerative myelopathy, which basically is destroying his spinal column. And he's got a strong will, and we're going to do the best that we can for him until he decides to tell us he wants to cross the bridge.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing the stories about these great dogs. And before we close, we do want to bring out the other 9 dogs. Well, it would be 7,
The other
7 dogs that you have brought here today. So we're going to take a moment and grab those other dogs to share them with you. Thank you. If you would like to help the All Pets Wellness Foundation, please go to their website. The benefits of adopting a senior dog are endless. As you can see, all these dogs here, they're wonderful, and they're a great pet to have. So definitely look into it. So thank you for joining us for another segment of Video Ventures.